Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Just Ask the Lord podcast. I am with you here today, so excited to talk to you guys about the topic of beauty and what it means in the Lord's Word and what it means into our society. There has been a lot of drastic changes within our society based on the topic of beauty, and many standards have changed because of that. And so, we're going to go in about this topic and just listen to the Word of God. I'm going to read some verses to you that talk about beauty, that talk about our appearance, that talk about how important it is to matter and to work on ourselves from the inside out and not from the outside in. And so let's jump into this topic, and I'm so excited for you guys to join me. And so, first and foremost, the number one thing that I want to show you guys first is these 4 bullet points that you see in front of you right now. The first one is society, the second one is beauty, the third one is standards, and the fourth one is heart. And so as I'm talking and as I'm explaining or just presenting these Bible verses to you, I just want you to think about, what is a society? How is my society right now? What is the society that I am living in? What does beauty mean to me? What standards do I know that society has created as I've grown? What does heart mean to me? How am I within? I'm presenting these 4 bullet points to you because these 4 bullet points really just talk about and go in depth and are presented in the Bible verses that I'm going to present to you guys today. And it is 4 ideas that have been created, that have been changed for so long. As I've grown up, I know personally that the standards of beauty, the standards that society has created for the 21 years that I've been on this earth, that it has changed drastically, and it has changed a lot of female and male's perspective on themselves, on what beauty means to them. So the important thing is to recognize. And for me growing up, I would really recognize because I'm a very just driven person, and I view and see everything. So I'm an observant person, and growing up, especially in the education system and just in society in general, being part of society as a female, you realize as you're growing up the shifts, the changes within your friends, within your groups, within yourself, that you begin to have certain interests, you begin to develop your likes and your dislikes, you begin to just develop yourself as a human being. And the important thing to recognize is that are the standards that society has created or is starting to change, are they good for me? Do they benefit me? Are they negative? Are they making me change my entire appearance for the views of others or for the importance of others? Or are they just making me change in general to someone that I'm not going to be able to recognize when I'm done? And so God has created so many words for us to read in His Bible, in His book. And when there are times where we feel like society is just on us, they're trying to change us, they're trying to bring us into and conform us into a group, into a certain category, we need to read those Bible verses. We need to read into His Word, and we need to realize that He has no importance in what our appearance looks like. The only thing that He really cares about is what our heart is who we are within. And so the first Bible verse that I'm going to read to you guys is this one. And so the first Bible verse is under 1 Samuel 16, line 7. But the Lord said unto Samuel, Look not on his countenance or on the height of his stature, because I have refused him. For the Lord seeth not as man seeth, for man looketh on the outward appearance, but the Lord looketh on the heart. And so here God explains to us that the outward appearance does not matter. The outward appearance does not matter to God, nor should it matter to us. What we should be working on is the heart, because at the end of the day, God is looking at our heart. He is looking at our soul. That's why God created and gave us a soul, because when we are no longer on this earth and we join Him, the first thing that He's going to take from us is our soul, and He's going to have our soul with Him. And so for the most important thing for Him is our heart, because He looks at us within. He hears us. He reads the things that we write to Him. He hears when we speak to Him, when we call His name. And so He knows who we are within. Even if At the end of the day, we are trying to change ourselves for whatever matter, for whatever the case may be, whether we recognize it or not. He sees us with no filter. And we might use a filter. We might use a covering to hide our feelings, to hide our true emotions, and to act like nothing is wrong, like we are perfect people, because that is what society has created, is a idea of perfection. And so God is trying to tell us there is no perfection here. I see you straight through you, and I see you with no filter. I see your heart. I look at your heart. I can read it, and I know who you are within. Then we jump into the next Bible verse, which is Psalms 139, line 14. And it says, I will praise thee, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Marvelous are thy works, and that my soul knoweth right well. Here, God is trying to tell us, why would we question? Why would we question ourselves if we are beautiful? Why should we question if we are and were created beautiful? Because God is trying to tell us here that we were fearfully and wonderfully made, because God's work is so marvelous. Because God, when He created man and when He created woman, He knew exactly what He was putting into there. And it's like, you've seen it in memes, you've seen it in, your social media, but there is a point where people describe how God created a person, and they say God threw a little bit more of this and a little bit more of that, but God didn't put enough of this. And so here God is trying to tell us, you should not question yourself whether you were marvelously, whether you were beautifully made, because you should know that I made you who you are. I made you exactly how I wanted you to be, how I wanted you to grow up. And I can tell you this, that you were made in beauty, you were made in wonderful, and you were made into perfection, because I see you as perfect, because you are my child, because I am your king, and because no matter what, I do not see your appearance, I see your heart, and I know your heart is good. There are so many other verses within His Word that talk about how beautiful we are, that talk about how much He loves us, that talk about how He sees us, and that talk about these standards. And He knows who we are. And the important thing is to recognize, and the message that I want to leave you guys with is that no matter how many times society is changing these standards of beauty or of hierarchy or whatever the case may be, we are all beautiful, and we must all accept ourselves, whether we want to change for the benefit and for the good of ourselves, and not for others' opinions, or not for others to talk about us and accept us. That is what matters. We should work on ourselves because we want to work on ourselves, because we want to change to better ourselves. There has been a lot of times growing up for me where I have seen so many people around my circle change because one or two people, or because people of high standard are promoting or are just explaining and showing these types of luxuries. And people see these luxuries as the only way to be accepted into a society, because they see these standards or they see these ideas as gold, as I have made it, as I am here, I'm going to be popular, I'm going to be beautiful, people are going to love me, people are going to want to be around me. And that's not the case. That's not what God is trying to tell us. What God is trying to tell us is your appearance does not matter. Whether people are wearing luxuries, whether people are buying luxuries, whether people are telling you you are beautiful or not, I know you are beautiful. I made you wonderful. I made you with beauty. I filled you with knowledge, and I am here, and I look at your heart. So the next time that you encounter these standards, that you encounter someone trying to change who you are, or that you feel that these standards of society are pressuring you to question yourself as a person, as a female, as a male, I ask that you just push that away and that you look at yourself and that you think to yourself, I know that God made me perfect. I know that God made me so powerful and so amazing. He filled me up with knowledge. He's telling me how He made me. He sees me as beautiful and I accept it. And I don't need anybody to tell me different. And I don't need to change for someone else's opinion or for someone else's acceptance. And so I hope that you enjoyed this episode. Please leave me below any topics that you want me to talk about in my next episode. I hope that you have a wonderful day wherever you are, and just remember, just ask the Lord and He will hear you.